Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
All right. Good evening, Flames fans. It has been a while, and I'm back on your streams on Game Over Calgary, bringing you the contest and the post-game action between the Calgary Flames and the St. Louis Blues as the Flames lost this one by a score of 2-1. Whoever you are watching from or wherever you are watching from, welcome. We'll talk about everything. Get the chat going as we'll have a lot of to discuss. Bring your questions, your thoughts. As I try to remember to do this game over show, it's been a while. We'll talk about where I have been. You can ask me questions, and we can do a whole lot today. I think today's game was a close game for sure, but there were a couple mistakes. Of course, the Flames were on a back-to-back. They played last night at Chicago against the Chicago Blackhawks. They won that one. We'll talk about that impressive performance in just a moment. Even though Matt yesterday covered that, I want to touch on a couple points. And then we'll talk about the midway season. We'll talk about a question that still lingers around the Flames camp. And finally, we'll talk about some positive news as well as we go through along. So, welcome to the show. If you're tuning in live, chat line is open. So if you want to come and chat, do that. Ask away questions, ask away your thoughts as we are well underway on your Game Over Calgary post-game show. But before that, as always, we'll do a quick ad read to begin our segue. Shift into hyperdrive hockey and get ready to have some fun with your new source for all the biggest stories in hockey, bringing a unique style of broadcasting and commentary with a Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top-tier hockey analysis, big stories, and pop culture, and a damn fun atmosphere that will drive debate, make you think, and more. Join Max Van Hoot, Daphne Melabov, and Kevin Lemaire every Tuesday and Friday for your fill on the hockey world. Watch on Game Over Network channel or subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon. Head to our website at thegameovernetwork.com for more. Alright, so that's the first part. So on the first period, I would like to talk about, if you want to talk about anything specific as well, let me know. But I'm going to talk about, is the goaltender crease confirmed for the Flames? It sure sounds like it. I have one answer, but I don't know what the Flames will do. So, quickly giving you a scoring summary. Let's start with the scoring summary, then we'll talk about the goaltenders. Bring your thoughts, your ideas as we go along. So, Colton Parayko opened the scoring in the first period at the 49-second mark. And unfortunate, that was the first shot that went in. Dan Vladar giving up that, assisted by Cam Fowler and B. Shen. Then no scoring in the second period. It was pretty dull, no activity. And then in the third period, Kevin Bahl. We'll talk about Kevin Bahl in just a moment. Assisted by Martin Pospisil. And then shortly after, Faksa, assisted by Tucker and Toropchenko. Jordan Bennington was decent for the St. Louis Blues. Dan Vladar had his moments, but it was St. Louis Blues coming the positive way tonight. But the Flames will have a redemption as they're back in the same building, back against the same team on Thursday. They have a one day break tomorrow, and they'll play the St. Louis Blues again. If you want to talk about the weird schedule they have, they'll play Winnipeg on Saturday and then head back home. Then they get a couple of days break and they take on the Buffalo Sabres at home on Thursday. So Little bit of weird scheduling. Of course, you need to collect as many as points. You started your road trip. You got 2 yesterday, none today. So it could have at least gone into overtime, but we'll talk about why it didn't. But talking about your first period, so first there was a missed high stick on Uyghur. The officials gathered, but they didn't call the high stick. You could have argued it was a high stick. Let me know what you saw from your angle. I thought it was a high stick. But there was no burst for tear for Uyghur, so I guess they decided not to call it. And then Blues opening the scoring on like the very first shot, scored by Pareko, assisted by Fowler and Shen. And then Flames had a bit of buzz in the first period. They tried to respond quick and tie the game, but to no luck, there was no scoring in that first period from from the Flames. Because Wolf is my next point I'm coming to. Is the goaltending situation confirmed for the Calgary Flames? I'm going to say hypothetically yes. I think they'll start giving Wolf a run. But on a back-to-back games like this, Dan Vladar will be unfortunately put in a rough spot. And I think if they need some wins, and if there is something that they're chasing for, like a goal, like a playoff run, that which we will get into the second period, I think Wolf will get majority of the starts moving forward. But again, you want to manage the workload. They have done that, but I think it's trending towards to being a Wolves crease moving forward. What are your thoughts on that? Would you like to see Dustin Wolf carry the Flames for the rest of the way? Your thoughts on the chat line. I'm monitoring it. We can lively discuss, or you can wait until the end of the overtime as well. So Dustin Wolf, I think he has proven that he's an allied goaltender so far. And if the Flames wants to remain in that focus of the playoffs, which they are in right now, because the Canucks lost today, so they won't gain any ground. The Flames didn't win as well, so I think they'll be almost in that second wildcard spot race, the Flames. It's interesting. And we'll talk about should the Flames actually chase the playoffs. I'll talk about the pros and cons of it. We'll discuss all that as we go throughout the show. So penalty kill improvements. I think I noticed penalty killing improvements over the last couple of games. Today, no special team scored for St. Louis Blues. It could have been dangerous. They were hemmed in their own zone, but the Flames somehow managed to storm. Huberdeau and Pelche creating that short-handed opportunity could have probably changed the game context. Because yesterday, as you saw, when the Blackhawks gave up that short-handed goal, they were down. Could the Blues have been also the same thing? Probably. Interesting conversation for sure. Rory Cairns, amazing guy. I know he didn't come on the score sheet today, but he's noticeable every shift, along with Jacob Pelche. Those two teammates from the Calgary Wranglers having chemistry together. They're finding plays. Cairns is driving to the net, and he's making those plays, which is wonderful. Because he wasn't even sure if he's ready for the NHL. But couple games in, sample size 2 games only, I think he has a spot here, but we'll wait a bit longer. Again, we have the contest against St. Louis on Thursday. I'm sure he'll stay in that lineup. Come Saturday, we have the Winnipeg Jets. I'm sure he'll stay in that lineup too. And then when they come back home, we'll see if anything needs to be changed. But for right now, I'm putting Rory Cairns in the lineup. So at the end, the fourth line, so the Lomberg, the Rooney, the Doer, in the first period, they put some pressure, but they couldn't work out well. And then Dan Vlada, rest of the game, he has been alright as well, making couple key saves to keep the Flames in the game. Alright, let's do a quick recap of that first period, what we talked about. Hit the like, share and subscribe button if you're watching. Invite your friends. Clog up the chat line also with thoughts and questions. I'll get to them momentarily, but here's a recap of what we talked in the first period. There was a missed high-stake call on Uyghur, but the officials gathered and didn't call it. Then the Blues opened the scoring shortly after 49 seconds into the game. Pareko, assisted by Fowler and Shen. Flames tried to respond quicker. Of course, they were on a back-to-back. So, I think they played decently well on a back-to-back. But there were some mistakes in between. We'll talk about that momentarily. Is it Wolves' crease now? I would say majoritarily yes. But again, you need to manage that workload. Probably on a back-to-back case, the second half of a back-to-back, or even 3 or 4 game stretch later, you might see Dan Vlada back in. I could try and say now the Flames will have Dustin Wolf start on Thursday. And then against Winnipeg, of course, if Dustin Wolf gets a win, probably he'll get the start. Or they might switch into Dan Vladar, who knows. And then penalty killing has seen some improvements over the past couple of games against the Blackhawks, and now today against the St. Louis Blues. But he said majorly improvement. There were 2 short-handed opportunities. Yesterday, Sharon Govich scored a short-handed goal. Today, Huberdeau and Pelche almost tried as well. So Huberdeau, he's been a fantastic different player on the team. Kudos to him. I feel happy for him. He has already 18 goals this season. Way better than last season. And then Rory Cairns, Jacob Pelche, their chemistry with the Wranglers, that has been amazing. And then some fourth line pressure, Lomberg, Rooney and Doer. We'll talk about Kevin Rooney in the second period. I want to do some evaluations of all the players so far. Chime in that one also. But the fourth line put some pressure towards the end of the first period, but couldn't convert. And then Vladar was decent after that. So, 1-0 St. Louis Blues finished off the first period. Let's segue into our second period. And that brings me on to Patreon, looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada. If you have a few spare bucks kicking around, you get to head to our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Game Over Network. There you will find multiple tiers featuring rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There is extra access, exclusive looks behind the scenes, Discord benefits, merch discounts, and opportunities to give us feedback. And you can join us for special shows live where you can interact with hosts as we launch more ways to improve your experience. If you are not able to spare a few dollars, we have a free tier available so you don't miss out. If you really want to help us, make sure to click and subscribe on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app, and share our work on your social media of choice. That's patreon.com/the Game Over Network for tantalizing goodies. So make sure to go check them out. Patreon.com/Game Over Network. Support us. if you want to eventually join us in the future, if you're in some goodies. And we always thank you for your support. Once again, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and share with your friends. As always, much appreciated. And for the couple of you who are watching right now, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me this evening. As we move into second period, let's do, before I recap the midway evaluation, let me give you a quick overview of that second period. Important penalty killing, once I said this in the first period. Second period also they had to kill a penalty, but was hemmed in a little bit, the Flames. Vladar had to make a couple key saves. And then Flames came out of the gates in the second period pressuring Jordan Binnington, but couldn't really solve him till the third period. And then Flames somehow continued to hang around in that game. And credit to Dan Vladar on that second period. Alright, let's do a midway evaluation. And that is something important as we welcome Matsy to the chat. Matt, thanks for joining. Thanks for spending the time with us. If only this team could score, we could be something. 100%. And we saw scoring yesterday against either we were good or the Blackhawks were really bad. Or it could be both. But yesterday we saw the scoring offensive opportunity, winning 5-2. But that didn't stick around today. How consistent we need the scoring? We do need it. But again, the Flames, the brand of hockey they play, it's more defensive style. They're comfortable with scoring 3 or less goals to make them hang around in games. Would that be a concern moving forward? Probably. But if they trust their defensive core, maybe it's not a huge issue for them. We'll start dissecting the Flames lines a little bit right now. We'll start from the top line, second line, third line, fourth line. We'll do a bit of evaluation. Let me know if you agree with me or not right now in the chat. And we'll just dissect each line a bit. We'll talk about any improvements we need to see and all that more. So the first line, Huberdeau, Kadri, Pospisil. I think that line has done fantastic over this season so far. Jonathan Huberdeau, the main person on that line, 18 goals this season. Kadri is right in that thick of races as well, but we haven't seen as many as goals from him lately, so maybe he needs to get on the board. Martin Pospisil yesterday, that boarding call, 5-minute and a game ejection. There was no supplementary discipline. Based on that, I thought he might get something based on his history, but he needs to also produce something. I think it's a total different Pospisil we have seen this season so far compared to last season. But I think he's learning his game slowly. We haven't seen so many reckless actions from him yet. But yesterday, you could argue because I've seen different point of views on that call. So you could argue if that was nasty or not. Alright, the second line, Coleman, Backlund, Coronato. Coronato, fantastic. Absolute A+ for him. He's noticeable every shift. He scores goals. He scored his 10th of the season yesterday. No, actually, I think they reversed their goal actually. Now that I think about it, they gave that goal to Backlund, assisted by Mac Coronato. So he scored his 10th recently. Could have had his 11th yesterday. But Backlund got that instead. And yeah, Coronato, he's been fantastic. Love that his AHL stint really worked. And he's on the right track. He could be a future franchise face of this Calgary Flames. Coleman, not a big of a jump we have seen from him compared to last season. There is still half a season left almost. He could turn things around, but Blake Coleman, haven't really been impressed by him. But of course, that line has been doing great. CBC line I wouldn't really separate. And then Michael Backlund has his moments. Led to an unfortunate mistake, which I'll talk about in just a moment. The goal that gave the St. Louis the Blues the lead, and the only goal after that. So, and looking when the Calgary Flames took the timeout, Backlund was indeed looking gutted on the bench. He knew he made that mistake. Otherwise, maybe Flames could have drawn a point out of this game. Maybe. So that's the CBC line. Pretty impressed with Coronato. Then the third line, unfortunate Zari. I didn't get to talk about Zari, unfortunately, but he got an injury. He'll come back this season, hopefully. That's the temporary timeline for now. Not sure how long he'll be out, but that scary hit against the Anaheim Ducks game. Feel bad for him, but he was clicking really well, especially flipping pancakes. But now the new center on that line, Yegor Sharangovich. Once again, not a great start to the season for him, but he has been turning it around. Important shot and a goal yesterday against the Chicago Blackhawks. Maybe that will get him going. And then his partners, Cairns and Peltier, A plus already right now, at least for the time being. Of course, small sample size, like I said, but those two have the chemistry from the Calgary Wranglers. They're working well together. I wouldn't change anything at that line until Zari is ready to come back. And then maybe you could look like a Karen Zari Peltier line. We'll see how that looks. It will be interesting. And finally, the fourth line. And as I see Matt C's chat, Pospisil is a fourth liner in a good side. Yeah, possibly. Because you need that to work. So I'm wondering if we can do this. So currently it's Lomberg, Rooney and Doher on that fourth line. I'm wondering if they can do Lomberg, Rooney and Pospisil on the fourth line. And they put Doher with Coleman, Backlund. No. Yeah, Doher hasn't been as impressive as Peltier. So, I mean, the fourth line was the best last month or so. Now it has dropped off. But Lomberg, man, that guy. He'll sing songs for you. He'll sing the national anthem along. And he'll fight 2 fights in 2 games. Or each game. 4 fights in total as I do my math. And what a presence he is for the Calgary Flames. Kevin Rooney. Okay, here is my point on Kevin Rooney. I know he has a role to play, that's why he's in the lineup. And the coaching staff has trusted him to be on the penalty kill. But I haven't seen much from him either recently. And sometimes it's frustrating to see. I have always wanted Kevin Rooney maybe out of the lineup, maybe sit a game and watch how these youngsters play. But I know the Calgary Flames won't do that. Just because the role he has been trusted with, and that's the penalty killing. So, yeah, I don't know what option is there right now. Especially you're lacking that center. You have Zari out of the lineup. They haven't tried Cairns yet on center yet. Could that be a possible? But I don't want Cairns on that fourth line either, because that's limited minutes. and I don't want him to take that physical role just yet until he's ready for the NHL. Your thoughts on Kevin Rooney in the chat as we go through, and as I welcome KU into the chat. KU, welcome. Thanks for spending the evening with us. And then finally, Walker Doher once again. He has had his chances, he has had his moments, but what has he shown? Nothing really. So, is it time to maybe waive him, send him to the Wranglers, bring another player? I don't know, maybe a Klapka, Stromgren, Dryden Hunt? As much as I see Coronado, Karen, Pelche and all work, I want Duher to work as well. But I know the fourth line time is limited. But we don't see him making impactful plays in the fewer minutes he gets as well. So it will be a difficult conversation, of course. We don't know if we will see changes in that lineup as we go through. But it will be interesting to see what moves on. Alright, let's head into the fourth or third period technically. MD12, welcome to the chat. You are my god. Thank you. I appreciate the kinds and comments. Alright, let's get to. Okay. Yeah, now we'll talk about. Oh, yeah. Let's head back into the second period itself. We'll stay there because I would like to answer this question. Thoughts on Kuzmenko? So, Kuzmenko, his future, I'm gonna say, is slowly winding down, or his time here with the Calgary Flames is slowly winding down. He hasn't shown that promise of the talent we saw last season. He has dropped off significantly. On some games, he doesn't have any shot attempts, no shots on goal, and that's how he sits majority of the nights this season so far. I thought he was coming around a little bit again, but then he dropped off. And then now Karen, Pelche, Coronado, all those players continue to perform well. I don't think the Flames have a spot for Kuzmenko. Honestly. I don't know what the next step is going to be. I don't know if you'll get a great trade value for him. Kuzmenko will be an interesting topic moving forward for the Flames, something to keep an eye out for. I don't know if you can add Kuzmenko to a package to trade somewhere in a package with someone else. Is that a possibility? But I don't know who needs to be traded right now. And yeah, the Kuzmenko. Another thing about Kuzmenko is, like MD said right now, they need you out there, man. Of course, they need Kuzmenko out there. Just because the team has been struggling scoring, and he was one of the answers of scoring last season. But he hasn't been able to get that going. So, yeah, like MD says, yeah, he has been struggling a lot, 100%. And yeah, can he pull his strings together, make something work? I don't know if he'll get a chance again soon. Maybe if there is an injury or something needs to be tweaked. But I don't see him coming back to the lineup anytime soon again. Just because Cairns is there, Jacob Elche is there, Mac Coronado is there. Maybe on the odd day they could try Lomberg, Rooney and Kuzmenko again. But I don't know how soon that will be. Once again, if Kuzmenko can get his game going, maybe he can find a spot in the lineup. But I would watch out for your headlines in the coming months about Kuzmenko. We'll see what happens to his future. I love his personality though. Don't get me wrong the way I say it. I love his personality. I love what he does for the team. But right now, the season isn't working for him. And I hate that. But it is what it is. Alright, now let's head into the third period. Keep those chats coming, as of course. Matsy, KQ, and MD12, thanks for spending the evening with us. And as I head to period number 3, if you're enjoying the show so far, and I think MD is enjoying the show so far, you probably want more of this, right? Well, make sure you hit the like button on this video, click the subscribe button, and make sure you check the notification bell so you have alerted when we go live. If you're listening to our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating or even write a positive review. If you really like us, make sure to follow us on your social favorite media platform. I am CGY underscore Anand on Instagram, Twitter, or X, and I'm on Discord as well. You can find the Game Over Network on Blue Sky as well at the gameovernetwork.com, on TikTok, and on at the Game Over NHL on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn at the Game Over Network. So my social media is CGY underscore Anand once again. If you want to follow me, I appreciate it. And you can also find us at the gameovernetwork.com, where you can sign up for our upcoming newsletter. Alright, let's head into the third period. We'll talk about underrated defensemen soon. Kevin Bahl, Braden Pachal, and Jake Bean. I'll hit on those three. We'll talk about Rasmus Anderson and Meager if you want as well. But let's talk about the game today first. So low scoring affairs continue to be the success for the Flames, and I think that's what the trend we have seen. Yesterday was an exception where they won against the Blackhawks by a score of 5-2. But I think, like Matsy says, if this team could only score, we could be something. But I think them scoring less is more advantageous for them. They tend to be around games. But again, it makes it difficult for fans to watch. You want to see high entertaining level games. You might find like a 2-1 game boring. Fair enough. But I think the Flames find success when they are scoring less than 3 goals. So Kevin Bahl ties the game. And MD says don't want to leave, but I gotta go, man. Good luck with the rest of the stream. Thank you, MD. Don't worry, you can catch the rest of the podcast on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can replay this YouTube stream as well. I appreciate you spending the evening with us. So Kevin Bahl ties it for the team. What a shot. Fantastic shot. That's why I want to talk about underrated defensemen this evening. Assisted by Martin Pospisil and Nazim Kadri. Great entry to the third period. They were buzzing in the third period. I thought when they tied it, there is a chance we'll drag this game into overtime. But unfortunate turnover from Michael Backlund, the captain, makes it 2-1. Faksa, assisted by Tarapchenko and Tucker. And the St. Louis Blues get the lead 2-1 that they were looking for. And like I said, Backlund was gutted when he was in the bench. He wasn't on the ice when the Flames had the extra skater on and Blooder was pulled in regulation time. And I think maybe Huska gave him a message. And that's the good thing of Huska. He gets all the players accountable of their mistakes. And he knows when it's the right time to bench somebody or not. So kudos to Husker that way. But you should maybe also feel for Michael Backlund. He maybe didn't intend, but that turnover costed the Flames. It's these small, tiny mistakes that happens for the Flames that gets them away from the games. Of course, today it was the Backlund turnover. Otherwise, they were well and truly in the game as well. And that brings their motivation down. Possibly. Alright, now let's talk about underrated defensemen Kevin Bahl, Braden Pachal, and Jake Bean. Let's start with Kevin Bahl. What a shot that goal he had this evening. And then he has been underratedly amazing as well. Once again, if you don't know his story, he came from the Jacob Markstrom trade. We didn't know if he was a full-time NHLer. Now he has found a good pairing with Rasmus Anderson. Rasmus Anderson has his good and bad games in between, but those two pairs have been consistent. Braden Pahal's partner, Jake Bean, they have been consistent. They'll take hits, they'll block shots, they'll do everything around the ice. And then you have the Uyghur and Hanley pairing. That's right. Hanley made another good block today. He stopped the St. Louis Blues from scoring. I think they have found a defensive core in them. Unfortunate for Miramanov and Tyson Barrie. They are in the same boat as Kuzmenko probably. How long do they have until they come back to the lineup, or will they get a game at all? Just because the Flames have found a strength, they have found chemistry. We just don't know when changes will happen. It's difficult, especially if you win games, if you are in together, but time will tell. Alright, let's hit a third period scoring summary or a third period summary and a recap, and then we'll hit the chat lines. We'll do a look ahead and then wrap it up. So low scoring affair games continue to be like the success for the Flames. Kevin Bahl, amazing shot. He ties the game at 1-1 for the team, assisted by Martin Pospisil and Nazem Kadri. We talked about Pospisil and Kadri earlier. Both of them have had their good times this season. Both of them had bad times this season. Coronato has been fantastic. He had another close chance today. And then unfortunate turnover from Michael Backlund in the third period makes it 2-1 for the St. Louis Blues, and that's how they end the game, 2-1. They'll have a chance for redemption coming up on Thursday when they play the same St. Louis Blues team. And I think that's the right time where I can do a quick look ahead for us. So this look ahead brought to you by Game Over Calgary. So Conrad will have the post-game show on Thursday against the St. Louis Blues, where he'll be joined by a special guest. I'm not spoiling who the guest is going to be. You stay tuned. Then I'm back on Saturday to take on the Winnipeg Jets. That's a 5 o'clock puck drop. So, and little earlier one for Flames fans in Calgary especially. And then so they play on the Saturday. Then they have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So 4 days off before they take on the Buffalo Sabres. And Matt Demille will have that post-game show. So that's your look ahead for the Calgary Flames. Just to look an eye out for. Of course, you hope the Flames can redeem their opportunity on Thursday. That's day after tomorrow against the Blues. And then they take on the Winnipeg Jets, who has been a strong team this season so far, and then the Buffalo Sabres as well. So at least if they can get the 2 points on Thursday, they'll be well and truly confident. And should the Flames actually chase the playoffs? They are in that spot right now. But should they actually chase it? If they can fix a few things like Matsy set scoring, if they can score maybe a couple more games with 3+ goals, if they can get who their number one goaltender is going to be, most likely it will be Dustin Wolf, unless there is another setup back to back. I'm just going to take a look quickly for back to back games. Yeah, you have a Red Wings and a Kraken game coming up on a back to back. So you'll probably see Dustin Wolf start release one of those two. And then Dan Vladar will get the other half. Unfortunate spot for Dan Vladar, but I think the Flames are segueing into that they have a chance. They want to make the chance worthy. They'll try all their efforts to do that. They still have time to bottom out to the 10 so that they can get a good draft pick. But if they're in the thick of races, let them glide ahead, is what I think. Of course, Flames fans will have different opinions. You can let me know what your thoughts are. Do you want the Flames to make the playoffs or not? Especially of where they're sitting right now. Alright, it's chat line time. So if you have been saving your thoughts or questions for me, hit those chat line as we head into period 4. But before that, let me get you this QR code. What a better way to support something you love than wrapping it on yourself. Game Over's apparel line has now dropped with unique lines. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, want to wear your love for goalies with a live and die by the goalie design, or you just want another coffee and a toque to get through your winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on stream now and take a look through our apparel store and help rebuild local sports and media while repping your community. So let's take a look at some of these designs if you want to have a look. And to the chat line we go. As always, share your thoughts right now as I'll be able to get through your messages. We are talking. I think I'll put out a question so if you want to engage more. Should the Flames actually chase playoffs? That's my question of the day. And we'll start with, I'll go through the chats what I have so far and we'll talk about the rest. So we'll start with Matsy. Of course, if only the team could score, we could be something. And that's true. We want the Flames to score. Pospisil is a fourth liner in a good side. Of course, I could see that happening because of the physicality play he has. So, but just don't know what other options will be moving forward. KQ with the fire symbols, thank you. Thanks for spending the evening with us. MD12, thoughts on Kuzmenko, we talked about that already. Kuzmenko has had his struggles. And we say goodbye to MD as well. He has to go for the rest of the night. Alright, Matt C coming in. Unless we sell off guys like Anderson and Kadri, I just can't see us finishing bottom 10. So we kind of have to cheer for playoffs at this days. I think you hit the point, Matt, there, right there. Yeah, I don't know if there is a trade market right now. I know Anderson has no interest in going anywhere. He wants to stick with the team. He wants the team grow. On the other hand, Kadri, unless we get a team to maybe retain his salary, or if another team wants him, I don't think Kadri is going anywhere either. So And of course, we have traded major players as well. Tyler Toffoli, Noah Hannafin, Chris Tanev, Jacob Markstrom, and still after that, if you're saying we are in the playoff spot, I think you should cheer for the playoffs. And I think the Flames have surprised all of us. Of course, we have seen their struggles. They can't score more than 3 goals. Their face-offs has been a struggle. Special teams are not consistent always. That's why you become a little hesitant as a Flames fan of not pushing for the playoffs. But if the youngsters are working, so that's the Dustin Wolf, that's the Connor Zaris, that's the Jacob Pelches, that's the Rory Cairns, that's the Mac Coronatos, and then you have some veterans as well working great, Mackenzie Wiegers, Rasmus Anderson, Nazim Kadri. I think let the playoff chase continue. I know we are in a unique spot. We might see changes coming into the lineup. There are still a lot of rookies out there in the Wranglers team that they can call up. I love they are trending forward to the younger group. So might as well chase something that the team is capable for. I don't think they can be bad every night. They have an amazing goaltender. They have amazing rookies. So I think let's hope for the playoffs. But there is still time for the rest of the season left. This is game number 43. There is another 38 or so games. If I do the math, it's 82 games. 82 minus 43, yeah, 39 games left in the season. Let's hope for the best. Let the young guns continue to build. And whatever they are capable of, let them do it. I think now we will leave it into their hands because we have seen Craig Conroy do his stuff. We have seen the business aspect of this. Now it's in the control of the Flames who play on the ice. I think that's all I can say. If you agree with me, hit the chat line right now as we are almost there to closing the show. Once again, if you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video and recommend it to your friends. We'll be live after every game almost, post game shows. So what's up next for the Flames? The St. Louis Blues. We take on them again in the same building against the same team. Then on Saturday we take on the Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg and then come back home, 4-day break, and then they take on the Buffalo Sabres. I'll keep the chat open for a couple more seconds. If you want to gather your last minute thoughts, if you're still typing away, I'll give you that opportunity. Otherwise, thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Anand. Oh yeah, of course, I wanted to mention something. So I started my practicum via SAIT with Sportsnet 960. That's where I have been for the past couple of episodes. Luckily today was a morning shift for me, so I've been up as early as 3 a.m. Got a power nap in between, and then back and rolling on your Game Over Network feed, and back at it again tomorrow at 3 a.m. Wake up again, and back grinding it again. And I have the day off on Saturday, where I'll carry the post-game show of Winnipeg Jets. Alright, I think that will do it. Once again, thanks for spending the evening with us. Matsy, KQ, MD12, we appreciate it. Have a good night. Thanks for watching Game Over Calgary. I'm your host Anand Unnithan. Next up for the Calgary Flames is St. Louis Blues on Thursday. Have a good night. Take it easy and take care.